What happens when someone commits suicide or wills themselves to die? There has been an increase in suicide amongst Nubians where I am. Okay, we don't want to get flagged, so we say people unaliving themselves. That's a very serious question because mental health is on the rise. Because remember that you act out what you think. So if I can distort your mind or create so much chaos, so much confusion that you don't know whether you're coming or going, you don't know what's real from what is true, what is false, what's going on in the world, and you're just in this system where it's all about consumerism, it's about materialism, like the real essence of real life. Luther Vandross said the best things in life are free. So when we start to not take things like kindness, mindfulness, ashuk, concern, care, valuing nature, conversations, soul to soul, if we're not applying these things and giving them the currency that they deserve, we get caught up in the rat race, we get caught up in the chaos and the stressfulness and the fear, and all of this energy can get to a point where people feel like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I can't. But as you said, that's one of the worst things you can do, because a lot of the times when people do that, it's because they haven't been given the knowledge or the information about what happens afterwards. Because most people, they teach you only the physical information, and even then they don't give you the authentic version, they give you watered down versions. Whereas a spiritual master like Partner Babyanun teaches you both how to deal with the unseen world and the seen world, because you're getting messages and information and frequencies, vibrations from not only the physical, what you know, what you see around you, but also from what you don't know. And then you have the internal battles going on between your ancestors, your agreeable and disagreeable ancestors, as well as external entities. So there's a lot going on that it can be too much to cope with. This is why you have to have a strong mind. And the master teacher wrote the book, The Mind, right? The mind, because the mind is the central processing unit of your being, as being a computer or a holographic computer, which means that you're processing light information coming from outside in, and then you have a radio in your head. This is how you're able to hear voices in your head, and you transmit and you receive, and you're doing that by way of frequencies. So in order to deal with both sides of the physical world and what people term the spiritual world, or the unseen world and the seen world, you have to be a master. So when you go to university, even if you get to that level, so by studying, right, and going to higher education, is putting you under pressure, because you start off with nursery or kindergarten, and then you go into primary, secondary, and then if you keep going to obtain degrees, and that's supposed to challenge you more and more to think. So when you get to university, you're put under pressure to the point where you should be able to cope and deal with life. However, you get, at most people may do their first degree, and then some may go on and do a master's degree, and then others may go on and do postgraduate or higher learning degrees and maybe get a PhD or whatever, doctorate or whatever, right? That's 3 degrees, when they teach you that a completion is 360 degrees. So work it out. You've only got 3 degrees out of 360 of the physical world, and you still got to learn 360 degrees of the spiritual world, totaling 720 when you put them together. So you come out only to be a tool or a slave to work and just do the basics. So you're being programmed to be the best slave that you can be. And then you wonder why You wonder why you can't cope. So going back to that question, the pressures of this physical world can take a toll. So the mind is the mechanism by which you use to control, be centered, be balanced, deal with how you act. And people that don't know the information about what happens is they don't know that they keep coming back and repeating the cycle. And it can be worse the next time because you haven't perfected yourself to the point where you can cope. Of course, if it's serious mental health issue, it's when the connection, because remember that your brain sends messages, electrical signals and synapses communicating by way of your neurons. There can be a malfunction. The connection is wrong. You just short circuit. So it's important that Wu-Sabat is here to teach you to unconfuse the chaos and the confusion in your mind so that you know what's happening. You know where you came from, how you got here, where you're going, how to conduct yourself during this period that you're here, how to master and learn the things you need to so that you can have a smooth transition to the next stage or the next level of your existence. Okay, so to answer the question again, what happens to you is that depending on what you do, you come back in terms of there's an actual scroll that goes into this, which is referred to as the master secret, the spiritual you after the physical you dies, life after death. We've got many scrolls that the master has written to deal with this subject and the 24 elders that goes into it. So the increase is caused by when you're completely lost, like you don't know who you are and you just accept things. You don't know where you came from. You get all of these stories and nobody can answer your questions. So you wander around kind of lost until you might connect with something or someone and you go down that path thinking this is going to give you the answers, one of the three frogs. And when you get to a point where it doesn't, you're still left with this void, this hole that needs to be filled. And because it's about you resonating with it, if you don't resonate with it, then you're just going to go up and go, let me go and look for something else. And you can keep doing this and your life is being wasted until you come across Wu-Sabat and boom, you get a DNA explosion. Then you start to learn about the universe, truly, not university that doesn't teach you about the universe, but that real, like, this is just one tiny planet in a solar system, in a galaxy, in the universe, with many multiverses to omniverse. And it's big. It's like as tiny as we are, there's a whole cosmos out there. So that's what you need to do to be balanced and learn how to conduct yourself. All right? So that's what's going on. And we are here to help, because once you get rid of those misconceptions, the mythology, the lies, you feel light. You start to, you haven't got that burden to carry around, and then you start to do the right things, start eating right, start doing things that are going to help you elevate